Welcome back! Was that cringy enough? A lot of you ask me the same questions all the time, so let me just show you. You go to preferences, change the grid color here. I prefer to just leave it black, and then the opacity, I like to put it lower. And over here you can also change the grid width and height. So let's go ahead and apply that. So how I got my layers in the top right corner is these three sliders right here. This lets you choose whether you want the position to be left, right, bottom. So usually I draw 16 by 16, but this time I think I'm going to draw 32 by 32. All right, so when doing a bat, I think first what I'm going to do is kind of pick an inner color. We can of course change this later, but I do like sort of like this bluish, color for a bat, because we could do black, but I love outlines, right? And I'm going to want a black outline. So definitely a color like this I think is pretty fun for a bat, right? So when drawing pixel art, especially something like a bat, I like to focus on what is most important for this drawing to have. So for example, if we're drawing a bat, we definitely need to make sure that we show its fangs, and make sure that we show its ears, and that's how people will know it's a bat, right? So at the bare minimum, let's say this was like the bat's head or something like that, the bare minimum, we would need fangs, and of course we want eyes. But if I make the fangs white, let's say I had a fang here and here, and no eyes are white, obviously that's bad. So we have to do something like yellow for the eyes, just to differentiate between the eyes and the fangs. I'm one of the pixel artists working on Dwerve. It's a tower defense dungeon crawler RPG.
Armed with turrets and traps, adventure into dungeons crawling with bloodthirsty trolls.
I'd really appreciate if you guys wishlisted it on Steam. There's a link in the description. So at its simplest, I think something like this would be the head of a bat. But I kind of like the chibi art style. I don't know if you guys know about chibi, but in chibi, the characters basically have these massive heads. And it's really good for pixel art to do this sort of like chibi art style, because you can show a lot of expression and character, because a lot of that is going to be actually in the face. And then you can make the bodies kind of tiny. So we could leave this face kind of small and do these massive, wings and stuff like that. But I actually would like to make the face bigger so I can give it more expression, and make the wings small because I don't care too much about the wings. The wings aren't what adds personality to this monster. So for the mouth, we could do a black line, or we could do a red one. So a red one looks like the mouth is open and you can see the tongue or whatever. To differentiate between different parts of the bat, I'm going to use two colors. So for example, the ears are going to be light purple. And I'm gonna reuse this color in the wings and in other parts of the body. Usually art looks really good when you reuse colors in other parts, even if maybe the same color doesn't fit in all the different sections. Just reusing it looks aesthetically pleasing. So I think I'm gonna go a little bit more purple with this blue. But a cool way to, for example, make this blue look more purple is I could just grab the purple from the ear, go to the opacity, lower it, and then put it over this block, and then I can click multiple times to get different levels of that opacity. So that's a quick way to blend colors in Aseprite. By the way, if you want this program that I'm using, there's a link in the description. Please use that link. I'm not affiliated, but by using that link I get a tiny little kickback. Okay, so like I said earlier, I think this face is too small and we really got to go bigger with this. So I'm going to make the ears much bigger. I think it's going to add more personality, and it's just going to look like we have, it's going to let us add more detail to this. So I'm making the head bigger here. We could go pretty big since this is 32 by 32. And it's gonna really let us add a lot more personality. Maybe we could make the fangs a little bit longer. It'll make it, the bat look a little scarier. The eyes obviously look too close right now. We want to put those further apart. I'm gonna try different sizes. Something like this might look kind of cool. I'm just experimenting now to see what I like. I'm looking at the preview over here. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people like you. So I searched pixel art. Of course, they got a bunch of pixel art tutorials, but I searched Halloween, and they have a ton of cool creative things for Halloween. Like this video I found that had these really cute Halloween characters to draw. There are quite a bit of creative classes for almost any program you would use. Man, I should teach some classes on Skillshare, shouldn't I? I think you can follow me, so if I do release classes someday, you'll see them. But there's all sorts of different kinds of topics that honestly I feel like you don't even need to go to college to learn. Skillshare is less than $10 a month with the annual subscription, and the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Heck yeah. I like making my art look charming. It doesn't have to look, mean and creepy or scary. There's something pleasant about it, kind of just looking a little goofy sometimes, so I kind of like this face right here. To emphasize the teeth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the red here and I'm going to go darker. And I'm going to put a darker color near the teeth. And then even with the yellow in the eyes, if I do something like maybe orange up here, even that gives the eyes more depth and more personality. See that? I'm going to start giving this a black outline because it's really going to help me sort of gauge the size that I want this thing to be. And the shape of it. Because if you don't take into consideration the black outline, you can mess up your drawing sometimes. So a big forehead, big cheeks, and a little chin. There's something cute and charming about that, and that's what I'm going for with this right now. All right, let's see if we can get some cool wings here. So something about the wings that I think for dramatic effect will make them look better is if instead of them being like little like this, think if they're taller than the bat and they have this nice arch to them, it's going to be more dramatic. Oh, look, I have a double pixel here. Have you ever heard me say this before? Double pixels is when you have two outline pixels next to each other. This pixel right here, it shouldn't be there. In most programs, there's a button called like Pixel Perfect here. And what that does is, if I turn off Pixel Perfect, it has all these doubles. So honestly, now that I'm looking at this, we don't even really need to give this bat a body. It looks kind of cool without a body.
I like that.
I want to give this a little bit of perspective, so I'm going to move the face over, and I'm also going to move this ear over, and then I think I should move the wing over, and here on the ears I'm going to give this a dark purple outline, and that really makes it look like it has some lighting on it. It's a neat little trick you can do within the outline. If you want me to critique some of your pixel art, maybe even appear in a future critique episode, follow and message me on Twitter. And if you want to use this bat sprite in one of your games or any of the other sprites that I've created in other episodes, follow me on Itch, and there's a free Pixel Pete's art asset pack on Itch. So I thought I was done, but what I like to do when I feel like I'm done with a piece of artwork is just to push it further and try things. So for example, I tried a bigger nose, then I tried bigger fangs, because you never know what's gonna look good sometimes until you try it. I tried bigger ears here, and I liked the bigger ears. because it emphasizes the bat. Then I thought that I would make the eyes look a little bit more menacing, and a neat way to do that is to just add darkness around the eye. Then I really wanted to make the character look a little more cartoony, so I added a big cheek and then tried adding feet. I decided, nah, little legs wouldn't really look that good. I moved on to the wings from there and tried to increase the contrast and just make them look better somehow. But I decided that they would look better if they were a little bit bigger, just because I made the body of the bat a little bit bigger. And then I wanted to balance the colors. So you see how I added the pink at the top of the ears? I realized that if I added pink at the bottom of the wings, it would have a nice balance in color. A lot of stuff like this is very hard to teach. Some of it is color theory. But yeah, basically, if you look at the difference between these two, I really do think that I pushed it a lot further. I'll see you guys next time. Dev Life.